Hello, this is Nathan Gallahan, and this is my presentation on emerging educational technologies. Based on my reading, these are the top 5 emerging technologies impacting education today and likely to over the next few years. Listed in no particular order, those include mobile learning and mobile platforms, mixed and virtual reality, information visualization, analytics technology, and adaptive learning, and we'll go through each of these individually. If you want more resources on any of these topics, these are the sources that I primarily use to put this presentation together. Educase has a fantastic report, the Horizon Report on Emerging Technologies in Education. There is also a lot of information on the U.S. Department of Education's website, including data, as well as a number of reports, particularly the report on competency-based learning was helpful for this presentation. So the first technology that we will talk about today is mobile learning. Smartphones have been around with us for a little bit over 10 years now, and their use is pretty much ubiquitous, with 98% of students and 96% of faculty reporting access to a smartphone. Clearly, this is making mobile platforms accessible for education. More specifically, mobile applications which can be downloaded onto smartphones have really proliferated, and more educational content is finding its way into this space. The potential impact here is huge. Mobile platforms provide us with another route to providing interactive, engaging content in a format that our users are already comfortable with. Everybody's got a phone. Mobile applications are capable of delivering text, audio, video, and interactivity in a way that would have been impossible 20 years ago. As mobile phone technology continues to improve, content will continue to be richer and more immersive. Current applications include podcasts, applications for specific materials such as heart murmurs, I've seen that one myself, or generating a differential diagnosis. The list is enormous and could be anything you can think of. I'm actually personally involved in development of a flipped classroom application that we're hoping to take live in the next couple months. As this technology has matured, many of the impediments have already been overcome. The biggest challenge at this point is ensuring that our students are finding accurate content, and that the applications we use and direct them to continue to enrich learning materials available rather than overwhelming our learners who are looking for resources. Next is mixed and virtual reality. This technology has entered the market just in the last few years, and these technologies allow users to see and interact with virtual environments, patients, or learning materials. The possibilities here really are nearly endless. Virtual reality has seen its greatest development in the form of immersive games, but educational applications of this technology are now starting to become more widely available as well. There's a huge potential for this technology to improve the way that we teach key concepts in health professions programs. Anatomy is perhaps the most obvious example, and you see that in the slide here. Students can visualize different organ systems in ways that weren't possible before. I recently attended a presentation on a virtual reality cardiac program that allowed the user to actually move through the heart as it was beating. Pretty amazing stuff. Augmented reality is a cousin to virtual reality and also has a huge number of applications that can be used to demonstrate a physical exam finding, recreate a standardized patient, or a whole host of other possibilities. The biggest challenge for educators is that many of the systems are proprietary, and software programs may only be compatible with one hardware system, so the technology can be expensive. At this point, the number of programs is limited, but it's rapidly growing at an exponential pace. In addition, because the technology is new, expertise is needed to create virtual experiences, so educators will need to largely rely on pre-developed programs rather than creating their own content for learners. Next is information visualization. We're all aware that the amount of data available in the world is exploding at an exponential rate. One of our current challenges in education is finding ways to make this huge amount of data understandable and meaningful for our learners. New technology is starting to make this possible. For example, the image in the slide here is composed of a huge amount of data relating to obesity, diabetes, and diet. In the past, this might have been displayed in a table or a series of tables, but now we can create interfaces that allow the students to actually interact with the data and display it in different ways. Online tools allow educators to create infographics too, making complex material easier for our learners to digest. Like many other technologies, in order to utilize these tools, our educators will need training themselves, and big data sets require specialized software and analytics, which can be expensive or difficult to access. Speaking of analytics technology is the next topic. And really what analytics is the interpretation and communication of meaningful patterns in data. In education, analytics is focused on the learner and the learning environment. It can be applied to an individual learner to understand a whole host of their characteristics, like looking at performance in multiple domains on an exam to identify a learner's strengths and weaknesses. One could imagine a more complex system using software or video analysis to understand a learner's ability to perform a procedure in the correct sequence with accuracy. We already use some simple analytics in the pediatrics clerkship to understand which questions our learners miss most commonly on practice exam, and this allows us to focus our time on reviewing content that's most meaningful for the most students. The biggest challenge with analytics technology is deciding what needs to be captured, ensuring that the data is captured accurately, and deciding what to do with the results once you have them. Mistakes at any of these steps can result in misspent time or poor guidance for our learners. And the final tool I'll discuss is adaptive technology. This relates closely with the prior technology, analytics. Analytics allows the capture and interpretation of data. Adaptive technologies monitor student progress and use that analytic data to modify the student's instruction to target areas of need. This allows the implementation of individualized learning plans in a way that wouldn't be possible otherwise. Obvious applications in medical fields include ensuring that learners master foundational medical knowledge over time and develop the prerequisite competencies to perform well in their respective fields. This could be used in the pediatrics clerkship to guide feedback that we provide our students based on their mid-clerkship check-in or their OSCE, or to guide remediation for learners who are struggling. There are a number of challenges with technology which have delayed its widespread implementation. The biggest challenge relates to getting good data into the system for analysis and feedback. Adaptive technologies rely on data and machine learning to succeed, which requires a complex host of programs and expertise. As this technology matures, it will become easier to adopt, though. So in conclusion, technology is rapidly changing, and with it, the expectations of our learners are changing as well. This set of tools will change the way that we interact with our learners and allow instruction that was previously impossible or impractical. If used thoughtfully, these tools will enable improved educational outcomes and more personalization for individual learners. Educators would be well served to stay abreast of technological changes in order to provide the best instruction methods possible.